What's up, fam? Welcome to another episode of the PWYFA Play Where Your Feet Are podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Dobbs. So excited to have you joining us on this is the last guest episode of the season. It has been such an incredible season, and we're going to recap that in the next episode that I get to wrap us up with a little solo-sode action talking about my year, concussion number 6, everything I went through, hospital stays, stroke symptoms, all of the above, and engagement, all the fun will be debriefed in the next episode. But for this episode, it is a special one. It's been a long time coming. Let me tell you, it is with Mr. Alec Ingold, the one, the only, our favorite Fins Fullback, as I like to call him. Of course, Alec plays for the Miami Dolphins, who are just wrapping up their season right now here in South Florida. And Alec is a star. Now, of course, you've seen his play on the field, and that could speak for itself. But off the field, he is an absolutely incredible human being. I love working with him so closely at WSFL and the great work and stories we get to tell with him, with Undrafted, with Alec Ingold, and we're going to break that down in today's episode. But he is the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee multiple times for the Miami Dolphins. He is the founder of the Ingold Family Foundation. He does incredible work with them, truly impacting our community in South Florida and back home in Wisconsin, and so much more. He's truly an advocate for so many people, children especially, families especially, athletes especially, but truly just everyone, human beings. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear this episode. Enjoy the last guest episode of season 4 of the podcast with Alec Ingold. This is the PWYFA Play Where Your Feet Are podcast, and I'm your host, Cameron Dobbs. Well, it's about time we got him on the podcast. Alec Ingold, welcome to the PWYFA Play Where Your Feet Are family.
I'm excited to be here. Long time coming, like you said, but we're knocking this thing out of the park. I'm really excited for today.
I am so excited. Now, of course, we introduced you in the beginning, who you are, what you do, a long list of an incredible resume that you have. But we got connected this past year, and it has been so fun to just see our lives align in a variety of different ways. Love that we got connected. In my opinion, I don't even know if you know the full story, truly, of how it started. But Alec works with Kip Hunter, who Kip is an awesome PR agency, but woman here in Miami. And she's connected to Alec, connected the both of us. But it actually wasn't supposed to be Alec who I was going to work with originally. It was like a totally different story plan. That didn't work out. And she was like, oh, well, I know Alec Ingold if you want to do a thing with him and his foundation. I was like, yes, of course, let's run it. And the rest has been history. Alec, we got connected. And then shortly after, we started a series called Undrafted with Alec Ingold on WSFL. I know my spiel that I can say about that, but can you just briefly kind of touch on what that series is and what's it been like hopping on the show and kind of hosting those segments with me?
Yeah, Cam, I feel like we got connected because we're both undrafted. And then we're both like, well, so is 100% of the world. Like the 0.001% of people are undrafted when it comes to professional sports. And I feel like we all have this mentality, like a growth mindset. You want to be the best version of yourself. And when you truly lean into what you are, what you aren't, and you kind of just accept it, I feel like that's where you can become the best version of yourself. So we kind of took it, we spun it. We want to highlight a lot of great work of people that are doing amazing things in the community. All of them are also undrafted, like you and I are. And just to hear different perspectives of people going out chasing greatness, whatever they define that is. And I feel like we've been able to learn a lot of secrets, like gems of success from people of all industries, whether it's barbers or educators or bankers or whoever it may be that's sitting down having a short conversation with us. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah, we all get to share that undrafted mindset.
It's been so special to see the conversations to come out of it, I think, even from my perspective, because you kind of pitched a list of names and titles and organizations of people we would collaborate with. And I'm thinking Christina with Lululemon, for example. We recently posted about that one, and it did so well because she talks about heart. And, you're thinking, oh, Lululemon, community events. But she's coming here talking about heart. She's sharing her heart. She's talking about, her fertility issues that she's had, losing her child, like just incredibly impactful stories that are coming out of just this beautiful segment that you've helped us create. And you are one of those beautiful stories as well. And so I want to dive into it. You know, I think people have probably seen or heard bits and pieces of your story. I know last year, was it also the Thanksgiving game that they did a great story when you went back home, I think it was. And so, yeah, I really want to just give you the floor here, Alec, and I want to hear your story. You talk about being undrafted, but this isn't just a mindset coming from the NFL draft. This is something you've had since you were a little kid. So tell us a little bit about your life story.
Yeah, little Alec growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, huh? We'll dive right into the beginning. No, I think a huge part of my story and something that I'm comfortable sharing now is that I was adopted at birth. And that has been a piece of me growing up. I was one of the only mixed race kids growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was, doing my thing. I always felt like a little bit of an outlier, but man, I think that community up in Green Bay, it was all surrounded around the high school sports. My dad was a varsity wrestling coach. My mom helped with cheerleading and was also a teacher. So we lived in the gyms. Like it didn't matter what season it was, spring, summer, winter, super cold outside or super hot outside. It was always around a football field, a ball being thrown somewhere. And I just kind of found love in athletics. And I felt like it allowed me to kind of shine and be unique and do the things that I love to do with a group of people, whether it was the kids down the street or, a travel baseball team. Competing was really fun for me. And I felt like putting on a jersey and being a part of something bigger than myself. Like I always leaned into that in a heavy way. People always said I was a leader really early on, whether that's because I was a good athlete or a good friend or whatever that was. And really leaned into that my whole life growing up. And there's a lot of life lessons that you can learn from athletics. And I think that's kind of the phase I'm in now, is trying to teach that to the younger generation of what's really important in youth sports and high school and getting recruited and all the ups and downs that you know so well. But no, I think it was good growing up in Green Bay. I was able to get a very late scholarship offer to the University of Wisconsin. I played quarterback in high school, so that was like my thing. That was my jam. Number 9, I felt like I was running around the field doing all the things. And then, coaches at mid majors were offering me as quarterback, and the big dog Wisconsin came in and said, "How about like athlete? How about we just find some place for you?" I was like, "Sure, coach. Why not? Like, let's do it. Let's dive into the deep end." I switched from quarterback to linebacker to running back and ultimately to fullback in a year. And all those position changes, all that embracing change, trying to be the best version of yourself was not easy. But by my senior year, I was able to kind of find my home. I was a starting fullback and ended up making a case for myself to get a chance to make it to the league. Fell a little bit short, obviously, going undrafted. We talk about that mindset, but I think there's so many life lessons through the state of Wisconsin I've been able to bring with me over to Oakland, California, where I was offered a tryout, made a team there, and then obviously down here in South Florida now, going into year 7 in the NFL, just trying to lean into every single moment with these guys. And it's been a tumultuous season, to say the least, but it's been pretty cool the past couple of years to have tough starts and really have these gut check moments and look at the character and guys of the room, really test your leadership skills, holding guys accountable, keeping the glue of a locker room together, and being able to play where our feet are at, which is, the title of the show and kind of the genesis of all this. But no, I think athletics is a great teacher of life skills, and that's what I'm most excited to talk about today.
Going back and really touching on that note you just said, you mentioned that in everything you do, you want to teach the youth, especially now, about what's so important when it comes to athletics and even just youth in general, life. What is so important? What is the message you want to get across to them?
Yeah, I think, well, okay. My favorite pieces of advice to give, Cam, are like the ones that I need to hear myself. You know what I'm saying? Like the coachable moments. And I have teammates as recently as yesterday, like, "Hey, can we sit down? Can we talk about mindset a little bit?" And we're talking, and it's like you're almost looking in a mirror because it's so relatable. Like when you're an athlete or anybody trying to be the best version of themselves, you're experiencing so many different things, and you might have different upbringings, you might have different backgrounds, but in that moment, when you're being vulnerable with one another, you kind of realize, oh, we're thinking the same things. We're kind of going through the same adversity. We're very aligned mentally. And when I'm talking with a professional athlete, a teammate, or I'm talking to a middle schooler, some of the best advice I can ever give is some of the stuff that I need to hear myself. One of my biggest coaching points right now is like giving yourself a little bit of grace and sacrificing that perfection, right? Like I think we're all perfectionists, and when you're trying to be the best version of yourself, you want to be perfect. You want to get an A plus. You want to grade out really good on your grade sheet. And understanding that sports and life is imperfect and it's played by imperfect humans. Like we are imperfect, and that's okay. And that's a huge life lesson that I still need to hear on a daily basis. And I think a lot of athletes can resonate with. And then you're able to tell stories beyond that. But no, I think sacrificing perfection, giving your best effort, knowing that's enough, and then just trusting that feedback, find your little reset button, and let's go again next week. I think that's the best and most impactful lesson I've been able to give to other athletes.
Yeah, I relate to that. I think some of the biggest sermons that I've preached before, or just advice that I've given, similarly speaking to what you said, it's always a sermon to myself. Play where your feet are, and everything that this podcast and company and business is. It's not because everyone does need to learn that, but it's because I need to learn that. Like, I'm wearing the merch on my head right now to remind myself I need to freaking play where my feet are. Like, I need the podcast. I need to have guests on here. You might notice this podcast is like 99.99999% guest on the show, because I'm learning from you guys. Like, I get to sit here and talk to Alec today and hear his advice and hear his wisdom and hear his perspective of playing where your feet are, because I need it. And so this is a blessing to me. And I am just, hoping, like Alec, that this can leave an impact on others, that the legacy can be furthered through other people and other stories as well. But you also talk about, of course, the role of yourself, talking with teammates, not just youth, but people that are really in your inner circle, in your daily life, in your job that you have. And so just to touch on briefly, we won't harp on it much, but this season, as a Miami Dolphin, you've touched on already, difficulties, highs at the same time, but also a lot of lows that you've gone through. As a captain of the team, what's it been like leading this year?
Ooh, it's been different. I've tried to take a little bit more hands-off approach this year to leadership, trying to pour into other leaders and find a lot more horizontal accountability amongst teammates. I think that's been, we go through learning curves, but I think that there's so many people in a football locker room that can speak life and accountability and truths into each other, where if it's coming from a few people, it might fall on deaf ears after a while. But if you're investing in the 20 to 25 guys that you can truly count on, and they can spread that message amongst the greater good of the entire team, one set of eyes and one set of mouth and one set of ears can only do so much. But when you have a collective group of people willing to have the courage to speak on what's right and wrong, to hold a standard, I think you're able to see things a lot quicker, respond to things a lot more efficiently and effectively. And I think that's one of the biggest growing points of our recent win streak is a lot of people are starting to see things the same way, speak the same language, really embody a mindset that's directed towards one singular mission. And a lot of guys ask me, like, what's the secret sauce? What's the saying that we need to come up with? What's the phrase that we really need to embody? And I think one of the coolest things is, like, it really doesn't matter. As long as we all believe in it together, that's the biggest thing. Like, one team every single year in the NFL is going to have a collection of guys that see things the same way. And they're going to be hoisting the Lombardi trophy. It's very easy to have a collection of guys that see things every which way. It's very tough to get a collection of individuals to see one thing only. And I think that's been the mission. And obviously you wanted to have that happen a few months earlier, but it's here now, and you got to really embrace it and find our flow state and our style of ball and lean into that, whether that's what you wanted or not. This is how it's kind of shown up. And I don't know if I'm speaking too broadly, but I really think that's the magic of team sports.
No, that's beautiful. And it's, you can't have culture without having, I think, community. And I think vice versa. You can't have community without having a culture. And it's funny you even say that, because as you were talking, I'm like, he always says this word mindset, mindset, mindset. Like, is there a specific mindset we need to have? And you're like, no, we just need to be on the same page. So I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people talk like flow state. Flow state is a mindset where you're just in the flow. Things are just operating how you want to, and you're being present, you're completely mindful. The success is just following you. And when you're trying to chase that flow state, excuse me, one piece of advice I got was like, it's trying to catch a butterfly. Like when you're chasing it, you're trying to grab it, like the butterfly is going to fly away. You're never going to be able to grab it and hold on to that flow state. But if you just relax and you're present, the butterfly is going to come find you, right? Like you have to work internally on you and your presence and what you can possibly control. And that flow state will come find you. And I think that's one of the most powerful mindsets you can have. And it's like one of the toughest lessons, I think, ever, because we're so impatient. We want the results now. We're competitors. We want it. We want the success. You want to feel good about yourself, but it's going to come. You just got to continue to work on what you can control and trust that process.
What does that look like for you? What's that internal work that Alec Ingold does to prepare for life as husband, dog dad, football player, everything that you're up to?
I think one of the best practices that I've been picking up quite a bit recently is journaling again. I use it as a tool to kind of get a lot of these thoughts out on a piece of paper. And then I kind of use that as an excuse to either leave it on the pages or take it intentionally and put it back in my head, right? It's like, I want to be in my body more than I am in my head. So if I'm journaling and I get it all out, like all the thoughts that we all have, subconscious, conscious thoughts, I feel like then I'm able to kind of intentionally put back what I want in my head, and I just allow myself to be in my body a little bit more. And I think that's, as an athlete, it takes practice, but one of my favorite parts about journaling is there's no rules. Like you can journal however you want to journal.
I want to go directly into play where your feet are there. We're going to touch on it at the end of the podcast, but just hearing that line of you want to be more in your body than you are in your head. And I'm thinking of playing where your feet are, and there's action to that. How does that coincide? Is that, hey, you can only do so much. We hear be where your feet are, and that's why I say play, is because you can only do so much just being where you are. That's great, and I love that, and you want to be present, and you want to, be in the moment, understand where you are. But I think I, as an athlete especially, want to do more than just be. I want to play. I want to work hard. I want to change. I want to improve. I want to, have fun. Play is also fun. I think of playing with Barbies as a kid, or playing on the playground, things like that. And so that mindset that you said there of just not just being in your head, but really being in your body, how does that relate to playing where your feet are?
I think it allows for some presence. Like a lot of people use sensory tips, right? Like, what am I smelling right now? Or what are my feet feeling? Or what are my hands touching? What colors am I seeing? So like, there are different tools, I think, that you can put yourself into your body a little bit and like touch your senses and make sure that you're a little bit more present. But I think when you go into play or the action that you want to see, I think it allows for you to start talking to yourself on offense rather than defense. Like if your self-talk is kind of just operating in the background, or you're just listening to music, I feel like you're a lot more reactive to the world around you rather than proactive. Right. And I'm an offensive player, so I love playing offense. So I like my mindset to be offense, and I like scoring points. Right. So like all the things. So I feel like those tools of playing where your feet are, that word play, that verb, that intentional verbiage that you use, you're choosing that. You're choosing that mindset. You're choosing that action that you want to see. And I feel like that's you playing offense in your life, which is a beautiful thing to have happen.
That's so good. I'm cutting all of that for a social media clip. That is going on Instagram right away. Alec, okay, so this is all just the mindset. This is all just, the off the field work that you're doing. But let's talk a little bit. Let's get some insight for our audience of what it really is like to be an NFL athlete, and a fullback at that. You are a rare breed. And so I want to hear it all. I want to hear everything from, give us, what you can about the inside of what does your week look like? What is it? I know it's different because you're playing on different days, so it can pivot, of course, with things like that. But what is the life of an NFL athlete actually like?
Yeah. Well, thankfully the NFL scheduling has been kind to us. So we didn't play on any holidays this year. So like we do get some of those good stuff. Like Thanksgiving was able to have dinner with my wife and a couple teammates, and Christmas will be able to be Christmas, but definitely years where your holidays are you're working. No, I think a normal week like today's an off day. So I feel like over time I've found you get one off day a week, and you want to be very intentional about your time. But I do want to do things that kind of fuel me up for the rest of the week. So whether that's a walk with the dogs and my wife, whether it's a podcast like this, doing shows, community events, whatever it may be, try and find 1 to 2 to 3 things that are going to fuel me up for the rest of the week, make the heart, the soul, the mind happy. Um, Wednesday's the big work day. You're in the building by 5:30, hyperbaric chamber, getting treatment, getting the body right. A lot of meetings from like 8 a.m. to noon. Got a 2-hour practice from 12:30 to 2:30. Some more eating, some more meals, and we'll probably be out of the building by 5:30, 6 p.m. So it's a full work day, 12 hours or so for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Traveling, you got a nice little plane you get to hop on, chartered plane, and get a little Chick-fil-A meal on the way out. Always love that, being able to hit the hotel with the guys and just kind of feel like you're a superstar a little bit. Get the the police escort. You're kind of feeling yourself, getting that build up into a Sunday 1 o'clock kick, and being able to go out there and show the world what you've been working on with a group of guys. So, that's a normal week, I would say, in the NFL locker room. I know I kind of overshot a lot of the details there, but by December, it's kind of like it's the habit and the routine. But I do think you want to make sure that the routine isn't routine, right? You are intentional and present every single moment that you can.
This is your job, of course. This is the job that you have, and it happens to be an incredible and fun and awesome one. But it is your job. At the same time, though, how much of you or how much in you is still that little boy growing up in Wisconsin playing pee-wee football or backyard football or any other sport and is still just giddy to run out on the field?
I would say about 1 time a week, and it's normally on Sundays. I like to say that I work at work, right? So like the preparation allows for you to play and be giddy and be that little kid on Sundays. But the work has to be super intentional. You have to treat it as a job with the utmost responsibility, accountability every single day so that you allow yourself to play free, right? If I were to be playing all week, Tuesday through Saturday, and I get to the game and now the lights are on, I might feel a little anxiety. I might feel unprepared. I might feel like I need to study a little bit more. So 99% of my time as an NFL football player is the work, the preparation, the intensity. And then Sundays, it's about having fun, cutting it loose, being that little kid that just loves to play ball. So I like to say that, I play for free on Sundays, right? Like I'll do that all the time, but during the week, you definitely earn your paycheck.
That's for sure. I had a former coach of mine would always say that your practices should be 1,000,000 times harder than your games or your matches. And I think it stands true, and it makes sense. You want to go through the grind during the week so that, like you said, when you play, that's the easy part. You can play freely. You can play and communicate well. There's a lot less weight lifted off of you. It's almost like when you're running with a weighted vest on, you do that during the week, but when it's time to run the marathon or the race, you take that thing off and you fly as fast as you can.
Absolutely. And I think that's the cool part about competing. And when you're playing in a game and you have that lightheartedness about it, you don't get so caught up in the highs and lows of missing a point or having anything that could go wrong in a game, because things are going to go wrong. It allows you kind of ride that roller coaster and kind of be stoic through it all and just know that over time, over a 60-minute game, your work is going to show out, right? And I don't think it puts as much pressure on every single moment because you're allowing for the imperfections of the game to come to you and allowing for that next play to always be your best play.
We've been talking pretty broad spectrum on a lot of these topics because you do so much, because it all flows into everything. It's what we do, because play where your feet are, and every mindset that you advocate for, goes into everything you do. Your work, your job, your play on the field, your foundation, and we'll get into that in just a little bit too. Everything you do revolves around that same mindset. But I want to talk real quick, since we're on the football note here, real specific. If you have any message, whether that's advice, a hello, anything or everything, to fullbacks out there, what would you say to your fellow fullbacks?
Ooh, what would I say to my fellow fullbacks? Um, I feel like fullback is one of those positions that is, you gain a lot of respect by the way that you play. It's not really what you do. It's not the stat line. It's how you do it. It's how you carry yourself. It's the character that you bring to the offense, the tone setting, if that's your thing, if it's a little bit of flexibility, whatever it is that you bring to the offense. I think it's so important as a fullback to take a lot of pride in how you do it, not just what you do. Whether it's the plays, the kick out blocks, the catches, the running. That's all important. That's great. But I think you gain a lot of respect from your peers, from your workers on how you play and making sure that's as consistent as possible for the guys around you, for the superstars to be the superstars. So that'd be my message to fullbacks out there, man. Like, take a lot of pride in how you do your job, because I think that's the most important thing as an F in the fullback in the offensive football world.
There you have it. I love it. All right, well, we touched on it or teased it a little bit. The Alec Ingold Foundation, the Family Foundation. Tell us all about the Ingold Family Foundation and what you guys do with your work in the community.
We do a lot, Cam. I know you touched on it, and we want to get specific, but the broad blanket statement is that we kind of utilize life lessons learned in sports to empower our youth, to empower that next generation to be the best version of themselves. What does that mean? It means that we work through financial literacy workshops, mental, physical, and financial health, to try and kind of hit all of those different areas of life that can help empower you to be the best version of yourself. And we do take a special liking to those that are in foster care and group homes, those looking to be adopted. We advocate quite a bit for those youth specifically, but at the end of the day, we take those life lessons, a lot of the lessons we talk about in this podcast right now, and try and channel it into fun experiences for these kids, allowing them to be themselves, to feel special and unique. I know you've been to a handful of these now, and a huge advocate and partner for us, so I definitely appreciate that. But no, I think we try and have fun, and just, you want to have those moments of inspiration, the light bulbs popping, the kids that just smile, and there's nothing. There's so many times youth kind of have masks on. They're trying to act cool. They're trying to act whatever. And when you get to see them truly take their masks off and smile and feel comfortable and confident in their own skin, that's everything for us.
You obviously could collaborate with any organization, as you do, with your foundation too. But what was it that really pushed you to start your own foundation? What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so I think early on I saw a lot of Packer players in the community, right? And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It's like superheroes, man, in the grocery store. Like,
That's you now. That's you.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment, right? And it's like, okay, so I'm with the Raiders, doing my thing, volunteering, going to food banks, doing whatever I could possibly do to be that, right? And I tear my ACL in my third year playing, contract year. Things are looking bleak for me. And I felt like it was a moment. I don't want to call it an epiphany, but it was almost like a moment of realization that if I'm going to continue this work, if I'm going to continue volunteering, I want it to be authentic to my story and my journey. And I want to bring other people along with that. Like, we had this vision of creating change. And I just wanted to be authentic to myself and my family's story. And I felt like the moments that I was around youth that have been adopted, it was like, that's real. That's a real vulnerable conversation and relationship. And I'd rather help one of those kids or one of those families over the thousands of people that you could do at a giveaway that you're kind of just appearing and shaking hands and kissing babies, right? It meant so much more to them. It meant more to me. So that was the genesis of the foundation, was creating real, vulnerable, authentic environments for those that shared very similar backgrounds.
But I love even the things that you do when you're working with these organizations are impactful to you because, for example, the literacy camp, when you're talking about finances, you mentioned it to me, that's what you studied in college, that you have a degree in this. So it's not just like, oh, this is a great idea. And you've said you've heard teammates, getting their big checks and wondering, what do I do with all this money? How should I spend it? What do I spend? What do I save? And you've not only helped them, but this is something, you got this in your back pocket like that.
Yeah, I think it's alignment on who you're serving, but also like you're saying, what you're doing. The environments you're creating are around things that are authentic and true to me. So the finance stuff is based on my studies. The football stuff is based on what I do on Sundays, and the mindset stuff is based on what I nerd out on all the time, reading Stoicism books and talking with you and getting aligned in mindset and being present. So. I think that there's a few different layers of the alignment which make it so it resonates so deeply to those that it resonates with. And I think that's the important part of a foundation. Like, we have a solidified mission. We have people that we want to serve, and this is how we want to do it. Now, we're always going to want to grow and improve all of those things. But I think that's really the magic, is peeling back the layers of the onion, figuring out who you really are, what you really want to do, and then go get it. And don't apologize to anybody for wanting to do it that way.
Well, one more layer that you don't apologize on, and we both agree on, of course, is your faith. And so as we kind of start to wrap up here, just what has your faith meant to you? What has your faith had an impact on in your career so far, or really your life so far?
I feel like faith is the bedrock for sure during uncertain times. And I feel like it's changed and evolved with what my day-to-day life is, not in the sense of like it's a wavering faith. I'm saying it's the bedrock. It's always going to be there.
Yeah, I got you.
But I feel like that sometimes it's kind of conversationalist, right? Like, I'm building a conversation relationship with God. Sometimes it's praying a whole heck of a lot more. And sometimes it's a little bit more rigid. Like, when the schedule is what it is right now, seeking out a Bible study once a week with Cook, seeking out mass every single Saturday before we're going to go on a game, it is rigid. And I feel like that allows for it to be there. So I think my faith has definitely been a journey. I think it's a journey for everybody. I do think that I'm a little bit more unapologetic now, like you're saying, finding a little bit more courage in speaking out on my Catholic faith and confessing that the Lord Jesus Christ is my Savior, and truly believing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not words. It's experiences that I've had. It's a daily execution of practice. And I think it's a beautiful thing when you're able to be courageous like that, when it's not perfect, when you don't know everything, but you're willing to share what you do know, and you're willing to share your truth, and be courageous within the Lord, and be a disciple of his, like, be a follower and try and do your part to spread his mission. So, yeah, I think it's very cool in special moments whenever you're around like-minded individuals, especially those that are rooted in faith and believe that we're all here to spread some good and for his glory.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite aha moments, was sitting on the couch with you in studio and you dropped Desmond Cook's name. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't even connect the dots. That obviously is the chaplain of the Dolphins, but I work with him with FCA stuff, every single year, every summer with volleyball camps. We did a thing at Cooper City like 2 weeks ago before Thanksgiving. But Alec, if I could shout you out for anything, it would be that, and encourage you in anything, it would be that. It would, yes, obviously I root for you with the Dolphins. I voted for you for the Pro Bowl today. Like, I am cheering for you on the ball field. I love that you come in the studio and we do these great segments and shows and highlight other people's stories. But above all, above anything, I love that you are bold, and more bold by the days that go on, about your faith. When you share those little clips on Instagram or LinkedIn and you throw in scripture, like, that is so encouraging to me, to others, with the platform you have, playing where your feet are, using it with purpose, it's beautiful. And just know that you are impacting so many, you're planting seeds in so many. Like, I think of the teammates you have and the teammates that you might think might never show up in a church building. You are planting seeds, whether you get to see that seed actually blossom into a harvest or not. You're doing some great, great work in and outside of that locker room in our South Florida community, on social media, and so far beyond. So I thank
I really
you.
appreciate
I
that,
thank you
Cam.
for that. I do. And encourage you in that. Keep doing it. Keep
I
sharing. Keep being bold.
I would say one in that bold structure and just with everything you just said, like very humbled, and very honored. One thing that I've been wrestling with this year in my faith, moment of vulnerability, is like, when the season and results and life isn't going well, you're talking about voting for the Pro Bowl or Walter Payton stuff, and whether the worldly rewards are there for you or not. I was talking to my wife with this. We were praying together and talking about these things. Like, um, my Instagram bio like almost embarrassed me because it was like it's the intro, right? It's the podcast intro, all these things that you've accomplished. And it's like, okay, but who really are you? And in moments, and anybody listening, like if you're going through a tough season in your life and you feel like you're being stripped from a lot of things, a lot of worldly recognition or awards that you might think you deserve, but you aren't getting, um, you're his, and that's enough. And it always will be. And it's like, however you have to learn that lesson, I hope that we all do and truly embody it. But man, like he's a sovereign Lord and he's going to give what he feels like. And you can pray for whatever you want, but man, like being thankful that you're his and that's always going to be enough. Um, I think that's one thing that praying and my faith has led me to this year, which I'm extremely grateful for.
Amen. Matthew 16 talks about you can gain the world and lose your soul. And I think that could not be more real. You see it so often with billionaires, with celebrities, with athletes. You could gain everything, you could have everything, you could have anything you could even dream or imagine, money, the girl, the status, everything, and lose your soul for it. And that was a little bit of my story of playing volleyball at the University of Miami, being a captain, being ready to go pro, everything, being a starter, and then all of a sudden, 3 brain injuries back to back to back. I'm medically disqualified by the NCAA. I have to drop out of school for 6 months. Like, I lose my status as an all-A top 10% of my class student athlete. And all of a sudden, it's not going to be, I realize when I go to heaven one day, I'm not knocking on the pearly gates saying, God, here's my resume of, ACC Player of the Week and captain, and I'm going pro, and I'm doing this, and I'm Pro Bowl, and I, had a 2-decade career in the NFL, and whatever you can imagine that blank being for you. God's going to not care about a single one of those things. It's like you said, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's awesome. Go be an NFL Pro Bowl player. Go be the MVP of the Super Bowl. Go be XYZ. But do it for the glory of God. Do it for his name. Do it for his renown. Do it declaring these bold statements that he is your savior, that being a football player is something what you do, it's not who you are, and then not being afraid to show and say who you are.
Period.
Mic drop. So good, Alec. Oh, you guys, if you are not an Alec Ingold fan, I hope you guys are now, because that is every reason to be. But Alec, the reason we dropped or had you on this podcast, of course, is because you are aligned with Play Where Your Feet Are. We love you in this community. We love you what you're doing in this community. And we love that Play Where Your Feet Are is seen in everything you do. Wherever your feet are, you are playing. Football field, foundation, serving, giving back, posting, LinkedIn, anything and everything. You're doing it to the best of your ability. And that's what Playing Where Your Feet Are is. It's doing your best and being your best no matter what, no matter where. Knowing that any position you're in, you have impact and purpose. And you're the perfect example of that. So in your mind, in your eyes, in your mindset, what does Play Where Your Feet Are mean to you?
What does it mean to me? I think it means that, like, if you're playing where your feet are at, you're living life where your feet are at. Like, you are on offense, like we talked about a little bit earlier. You're being intentional. But I think it's enjoying not only what you're doing, not only who you're doing it with, how you're doing it. It's kind of all that wrapped into one, right? Like really enjoying that moment, who you're becoming, the people that you're around, and just if playing where your feet are at could mean one thing to me, it just truly means enjoying the moment and fully living in it presently. Like not looking for tomorrow, not reminiscing on yesterday, but truly today, doing something that you love with the people that you love, and doing it for the guy that you love, the big guy upstairs. I think that's what play what your feet where your feet are means to me, and I think it's a very special mission. I think a lot of people aligned with it are going to do a lot of great things in this world.
You're one of them right there, playing where your feet are. That's all beautiful, beautifully said, amazing, retweet, all the things. But it's not always easy. And so, practically speaking, what would your advice be to give someone on how to make that first or take that first step to playing where their feet are? What does that actually look like to enjoy and live in the moment and live where their feet are?
Yeah. I think it starts, you can start anywhere, but in my mind, it's like outside of yourself. What are you thinking about? What are you worried about? And if it's other people's opinions, if it's success or failure, external results, acknowledgement, rewards, goals, whatever, it's kind of outside of your control, right? And then kind of a layer in that is the people that you're around. Maybe it's a practice field and my teammates, the running backs, the offense, the quarterback, the coaches. I have some sort of impact or influence on the people around me. Whether you're a captain or not, everybody can be a leader. Anybody can, your actions influence the people around you, right? And then you break that down a little bit more, and it's like, okay, now it's just you and what you can control. And at the end of the day, I really don't think you can control much else other than your attitude, your effort, and your enthusiasm. Like, that's it. I can control that on a daily basis. And the more that we can really strip away the worries, the anxieties, the external noise around you, and maybe even the people we're influencing around us, and really just focus on what we can control, the more that you can do that, I feel like then you're working from the inside out. Then you're working in purpose. If you've defined your purpose and who you are and what you can control from the inside, then you're able to impact those around you the way you want to impact them. And then the narrative over time may or may not change, but who really cares anyways, right? So I think it's really working and living from the inside out rather than the outside in. And I think that's a huge challenge, like we're talking about. But the more often that you can focus on living from the inside out, I think the better off you're going to be and the more you're going to be playing.
I think you can tell that these are things you've meditated on in your own life, because you started this podcast saying how one thing you're trying to grow in this year, and you've been forced to grow in this year, is taking some pressure off, giving yourself some grace. And I think that's the beautiful power of playing where your feet are too, is that you're able to break down things into these little microcosms of issues or focuses that you can really laser focus in on, lock in on, and it allows you to take pressure off and give yourself grace, because you can just say, hey, okay, my role is here, and my goal is maybe here, much wider, but my role is here. And so what can I do in this position? And I'm going to lock in here. I'm going to do my best here, and it's going to affect everything else around me. And I think playing where your feet are too, it's where your feet are. And it's not the stress of, what is my teammate doing, and what is my coach doing, and how are they acting, or any other situation you might be in with your foundation work. What are the people that are working in that business working with as well? And it's, hey, let me just focus on me. Let me not be overwhelmed by outside distractions, things you can't control, locking in on what you can do, and then knowing that that will make an effect on you, on people around you, on the situation. And like you said, and if not, I think you're impacted, and that's sometimes the most important thing, because you can take yourself anywhere and use that impact and use that advice and use that experience to touch other people, even if the current situation isn't impacted or showing the impact of it too.
Right. And at the end of the day, it comes down to trust, like trusting yourself, trusting those around you, and then like trusting your intentions. If you have pure intentions, over time, your heart's going to show, right? So it's like being able to trust and kind of sacrifice some of the stuff that may not matter, and leading with that pure intentions, that decided heart, over time, things will work out the way they're supposed to.
Oh yeah, always. There's always a reason for everything, and like you said, the big guy upstairs got everything under control. So
he's got it all.
We're all good, even when we worry about everything.
Absolutely.
Alec, this was so good. I love that. We personally got to sit down with each other longer than 3.5 minutes, like our segments usually are. So this was a lot of fun, getting to dive in deeper a little bit to your story and more of the mindsets you carry and more about Play Where Your Feet Are in your life. But the cool thing is we don't have to end it here. You're always doing great podcasts. You're always doing great TED Talks, foundation work. It is not hard to find you on or off the field here in South Florida and beyond. So where can we go to do all that?
Yeah, just head over to alecingold.com. I think that's easiest. Obviously, social media is maybe a little bit easier. So Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm all over there. So just quick little search there. It's just my name. I don't have any pseudonames, nothing like that. No nicknames. But yeah, we got a lot of good stuff rolling down the pipe.
No crazy like ball hog money X97 Instagram username.
No, it's all pretty standard. We try and button up around here, like the quarter zip matcha vibe. Like that's really what I'm on.
Are you a quarter zip matcha guy?
I'm a quarter zip latte guy. I don't know if that's frowned upon or not, but that's how I'm moving.
We'll accept. Alec, I love it. So much fun. So appreciate you. I want to end with actually 2 more questions, and we'll finish up here. The final big one maybe is your legacy. You do so much from everything we've touched on already. What is the legacy you want to leave overall?
Legacy is something that I guess I don't really want to worry about. I don't really want to be concerned about what people say about me when I'm gone. Like I want to impact people while I'm here, and whatever people say can say, and that'll be great. But if I can be the best version of myself, where my feet are at today, and I can replicate that over time, I think that's the legacy will speak for itself, and it can be whatever it's going to be. But I don't really care what my legacy is.
Come on now. It's not about you either. Let's go. I love that. All right, Alec. Well, final thing is just to give you the floor. Anything else we might have missed? Any other words you want to drop? Bits and pieces, wisdom, advice, your latte order, you let us know, and then we'll close out.
I love it. So I got these quote cards from Sugar Boo company, and sometimes I just pick out a few that I like when I'm doing stuff like this. One that caught my eye is from Thomas Edison. He said, if we did all the things we were capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. And I feel like that just, to me, means like, man, we're so capable of doing so much good in this world. And like, what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of, like actually trying our best, of going all in? Whether it's football, whether it's a foundation, whether it's media, whether it's in business, in school, like what are we really afraid of? Like we can literally astound ourselves if we're literally doing all the things that we're capable of doing. And I think that's my quote card. I think that's what was meant to be dropped in this moment. And shout out Sugar Boo Company for stacking me up with 300 of these things.
Let's go. One for just about every day of the year. Alex, so good. I love that. I do it afraid. You hear all the time, but there is Matthew 28 in the Bible. It talks about the women at the tomb. They see Jesus has been resurrected and they run from the tomb, and it says they were frightened, but they ran full speed ahead. And I think that is something we can all walk with, that we can live this life. It's okay to have fear. There are some scary situations. There are some hard seasons. There are some great seasons. And we can be frightened but run full speed ahead. So here's to being a people of playing where your feet are. Alec, thank you so much for joining the podcast. Fins up. Go Alec Ingold. Number 30, all the things. And hey, we are forever cheering and rooting you on in our corner.
Amen. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, Alec. Alec is just so good. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I know I did. And I hope you've enjoyed this season so far. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is our last guest episode of season 4. We're going to wrap it up one final episode with yours truly. I'm going to talk a little bit about this entire year, this season of the podcast, the season of my life, from engagements to hospitals to concussion number 6 to celebrate something soirees and so much more. So you don't want to miss that episode. It's coming soon, probably at the end of January. And we're going to have a little surprise fun from the archives episode come in February. And then we're going to kick off season 5 and probably late spring. So stay tuned for all that. Of course, you can find all the information for everything, playwhereyourfeet.com. More than anything, y'all know Play Where Your Feet Are on Instagram. That's the place to be. Even when the podcast is not going on, we still have play dates, we still have soirees, we still have books, we still have merch, all the fun things you can find on our Instagram, on our website, and all the great stuff. So we love you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'm actually recording this little intro outro here on December 31st. So Happy New Year to all of you guys. Here's to another season of the podcast. And of course, one more episode. Love you guys. Be blessed and play where your feet are.